Hello there, my name is Enock. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV.
Mountain Moving Faith. This is my latest book. And if you want to learn how you can move mountains, life has many mountains. While this journey, you will encounter mountains and you wonder, how can I move mountains? This is a book to read. And it took me time to research, to pray, and to wait on God and look at the scriptures and what Jesus talked about moving mountains. And this book is quite a story, it's quite an inspiration. It is quite something that will change your life. So order your copy today. We can send it to you wherever you are in this country. We will be able to send this book to you on Mountain Moving Faith. Call that number or send a message and our team will be able to ship it to you wherever you are. There's a book to read. You can also buy for your friend, for a family as a gift. And I have no doubt they will thank you and they will be always thankful for what you have done for them. So God bless you as you read this book, Mountain Moving Faith.
Hello there, welcome to the Kingdom Business Network, your go-to-choice business program on Faith Today television. My name is Enock Kitondekijja. I'll be your host today. I'm sitting in for our Dr. Francis Mungai, who's not here with us, but he is such a resource and a bona fide member of the Kingdom Business Network. This is a platform where we help you grow your business and create wealth. Like for those of you who read the scriptures tell us our master commands us to occupy until he comes back. Doing business is what we are supposed to do. But along the way, we get challenges that we are here to address today. And some of the challenges is mastering the lifeline of your business. We have experts who are going to help you break that down, unpack all these mysteries, and help you succeed in the area of business. This is for business growth and wealth creation. And today, joining with me is my co-host, who is right here on my left. I want her to introduce herself to our viewers and also share with us what are we discussing today. Thank you so much. Vicky, you can introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Enock. As you've heard, my name is Victoriana Alwang'a. I'm a financial advisor and very passionate on matters finance. So initially we had begun a topic on cash flow management essentials. We had done the part 1. We were able to define what cash flows are, and we had been given an analogy about a port and how there's money coming in and how there's money exiting, and how we are able to minimize what is exiting and to maximize on what we are receiving. So we're going to continue with that discussion today. We're going to expound on the challenges, we're going to expound on key performance indicators, and that is why today we are joined by our guest here today. He's an expert in business matters, so you're in safe hands. So to our viewers, feel at home. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. In safe hands, she says. And right here on my immediate right is one of our seasoned entrepreneurs, a master trainer, someone who has moved with a lot of business people. He has mentored people to start and improve your business. He has a template from the International Labour Organization. And before I invite him to come and take us to the next level, I want you to now do this activity with me. As always, this is where you invite your neighbors to come and catch this show along with you. Remember, we are on a mission to break all barriers. The mission is clear. Financial barriers are to be broken at this very year. So invite them, let them catch this show along with you. And we know that there are those who are following us on Facebook and YouTube. We celebrate you as well, and we encourage you to subscribe. Do not forget to subscribe. Click that bell to remind you whenever this content is coming in. And like, comment. When you share, you do so well. You help us reach thousands of people with these insights and Kingdom Business Network knowledge from our experts. So once again, remember to share. And for those of you who receive this, do the same. Let it go on and on again. We have numbers on your screen, as you can see. If you have any urgent question, please let it come through. Our guest here is ready to answer you. You know, anything, just keep it coming. The earlier you do, the better. Now back to my guest. I want him to introduce himself once again to our viewers. Pastor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm Geoffrey Kilonzo. I've been here before, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm a master trainer with the International Labour Organization, but I also run a company called ICST Enterprise Developers. We develop enterprises from the start, that is idea generation, to developing business plans, to improving their businesses, and expanding their businesses through strategy. We are happy to always guide and help entrepreneurs. We deal with both micro, small, and medium sized enterprises through mentorship, through training, and also we run social media platforms. So it's always a pleasure to be here today, and I'm glad. Thank you.
Oh, that's indeed amazing. And today you came in with an attire that I wanted to name a prophetic attire, you know. Now, you being in business, I'm wondering, you're a pastor. What is your inspiration? Before we go into the discussion of the day, I believe my viewer wants to know, a pastor now training people in business, doing business. What is your inspiration, man of God?
Interesting. Yeah. I think having been a preacher, and I'm still a preacher for quite some time, I got a revelation that so many people were, and where we are coming from, you know, in the knowledge of the church, in the 1980s, we had a wave of revival. And this wave of revival focused so much on the infilling of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues. But most important, all that was very important. But most importantly, they focused on focusing to go to heaven. The gospel was live holy, go to heaven. And so there was a vacuum created in the church that we are born again, forget everything else, focus on going to heaven. But then I realized that even after you get saved, before you go to heaven, whether through sleeping or through rapture, if Christ comes immediately.
Sleeping meaning soon. Dying?
Sleeping means dying, of course. We don't die.
Okay.
Yeah, so in between the time you are born again, yes, there's a life to live. And then I started searching the scriptures, and I realized God has an assignment for all of us. And that assignment is the assignment to transform the nations for kingdom's sake. The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2, that there are mountains. It says, the mountain of the Lord's house, Mount Zion, shall be exalted above all other mountains, and others hills shall come to the mountain of the Lord, the Lord's house, and say, teach us the ways of the Lord, that we may live by them. So with that revelation, I realized that the mountain of the Lord's house was ordained, which is the church, which was ordained to create teachings and training that will empower other small mountains. And the small mountains here, we're talking about other sectors of the world, whether it's government, business, hospitality, education,
politics,
all the others. There are 7 mountains. There are 6 mountains. Religion is just one of them. So I said, hold on. If that is the case, then the church believers should have knowledge that can transform the other sectors or the other mountains. And that's when I gave myself into study. So I've gotten a lot of understanding around the business and the kingdom, because you cannot disconnect the two. Let me tell you, Enoch, a normal believer interacts with the world more than 90% of their time than the church. We only come to the church on Sunday and midweek services, if there are. But the rest of the time, you're meeting non-believers, you're meeting people out there in the marketplace. And so the equipping on Sunday should not just be equipping to go to heaven. It should be equipping for you to live right in the marketplace, but also to transform the marketplace. Because unlike those years when revival was starting from the church, these seasons, the revival will start from the marketplace.
Wow.
You know the story of the king, the king who had a house help, and was in Naaman. And this girl knew God. You know, he knew the prophet Elisha. And because of staying close to the prophet, having the knowledge of the prophet and knowing the king, when the king was sick, she said, look, I know a man who can give you a solution. And that man is a prophet of God.
In Israel.
And I will refer them. If this girl was staying in church forever, she could not have helped that king. So it is important to equip the believers in church, but also send them out to the marketplace, because that's where real transformation will happen. This king was saved by a girl who knew God, who knew the prophet, but also worked in the marketplace. And that is exactly the template we are living in today. We get empowered on Sunday. We get filled with the Holy Spirit on Sunday. We receive the empowerment, but we meet the kings like Naaman out there, people who do not know God. And look, on Monday you interact with all the other religions and denominations. If you call a Muslim to church today, they may not come. But on Monday, you'll be working with them at the workplace.
Absolutely.
If you want to reach out to maybe a Catholic or other denominations and share your faith, you will not find them in the church. Where will you find them? They are the secretaries in the office, they are the supervisors in the office. So if we can take church to the marketplace, that is the ideal template of our today's ministry. So that is why I'm so sold out to do ministry in the marketplace, because that's what will bring the next revival. I see so much discussions of revival. Revival is coming because we see a huge gathering. Let me tell you the truth. The principle of Christ was never a large gathering. And I have no problem with large gatherings. We can celebrate gatherings in Kasarani, gatherings elsewhere, but that's not revival.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Now you're making me preach.
I'm telling you. I mean, you are flowing. By the way, before you carry on,
yes, sir.
The scripture you've talked about.
Yes.
Those of you who are following us on Faith Today Television, if you can go back, rewind on our Sunday service, this gentleman right here is just affirming the word we had in the morning service.
Wow.
Victoriana can attest to this.
That's nice.
The preacher actually ironed out this distinctive woman. That exactly. Naaman.
Yes.
That was the sermon, so we are not wasting time.
Amazing. I'm happy.
Please carry on.
No, but this is very important. I am happy that you asked.
Yes.
So I was saying about the real revival.
Revival.
The real revival, I'm a master trainer. And I know you've interacted with me in the marketplace. When we train 10 people, 15, 20 people. Yeah, actually we do maximum of 25. Because I understood the principle of Christ's way of revival.
Yeah. Christ's
way of revival was reach out to few, make a maximum impact on them. Then those people will now transform others. So it's a trickle-down effect, the multiplier effect. Yeah. I reach out to you, I make a transformation. You reach out to Victoriana, you make. So by the end of it, from the tree of Geoffrey, there are 10 people, 20 people
Benefit.
who reached other 20 people,
Yeah.
who reached other 20 people. By the end of it, we'll change the world.
Absolutely.
But if I'm only fighting to be Geoffrey gathering 100 people, I can only gather as much as an individual. So why can't we have the multiply effect? Reach out to the few you can, change them so well that when you go, there's no vacuum. Christ, when Christ's disciples got to 50.
Allow me, I was about to call you Bishop. Pastor, allow me to cut you short there.
Yes.
Because I understand we are planning something for the Kingdom Business Network members.
Yes, the breakfast.
For those of you who are following us, this is Faith Today Television. And there's so much that Pastor Kilonzo here has to unveil for us.
Yes.
But today, because we have to finish something we started last month, I want him to pause there and allow you to subscribe. You know, allow you, if you want to attend, we are actually, Victoriana, is it a breakfast? What are we arranging? Talk about it.
So we are arranging a breakfast.
Yeah.
If you're in the business place, if you want to get more insights beyond Kingdom Business Network TV, you can come and attend the breakfast. The charges are only 1,500, right?
Before you talk about the charges,
Yes.
because we don't want to excite them so much,
Yes.
they should know that we have a very limited time frame, and so we want to give you more of the details. Stick with us. In fact, we even have more offers up to the very end. But allow me now get to our discussion. It's getting exciting, you know. And this is the heart of our bishop, our visionary, Bishop Peter Ndungu. He started this, and his mind is that we take church from church, we take church outside, impact thousands of people. That is the Kingdom Business Network for business growth and wealth creation. So today we want to understand. Last time we talked about cash flow. I want Pastor Kilonzo, because I know there are people who are just now joining in right now. You are not late. This is the time. They had a very great conversation about cash flow, like Victoriana told you, the mastering the lifeline of your business. For to combine all of us and those who are just joining in, I want Pastor Geoffrey to take us through the recap of what you discussed last time, so that now we can get everyone on board, if you would.
Thank you. You know, you almost got me to what I breathe.
Yeah.
But that's very important. We'll continue that during the conference.
Yes.
We talked about cash flow management, and we said cash flow management is a process of tracking how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. That's the bottom line. And the purpose of tracking how much money is coming in and how much money is going out is to create as much balance as possible. Because in the end, we say cash flow is king. If you don't have cash flow, then you are suffering. Now, we talked about money coming in and money going out, and I gave an analogy of a pot. I said, if you pour water in a pot and it has a hole, you know, at the bottom, the much you pour, you need to know that there's much going out. And this much going out, there's only one thing you can do. For you to get as much reserve in the pot as possible, you can either continue pouring more or you reduce the outlet. So cash flow management is for you to know, do I pour more or do I reduce the outlet and get more reserve? Now, what is the outlet? The inlet is wherever money comes from. And it's important to ask ourselves, where does money come from in the business? Number one, money can come from sales. When we make sales, we bring money to the business. But even before the sales happen, you have your capital injection, what we call equity. So you put in money as your capital contribution. And that money you put into the business is your initial capital or either capital injection. You know, initial capital is the money you started with. But as you go on, you may realize your business needs more and you do capital injection. You outsource money from elsewhere, maybe your savings or maybe a friend's contribution, and you put some more money into the business. But then you cannot continue putting money into the business. You need to create sales that now bring money into the business. So once money comes into the business, it's either from sales or from contribution of capital or from grants or from loans. That's how money comes into the business. When it comes, it has an outlet. And this outlet is the expenses. If you're running a manufacturing business, for example, you buy materials. So your main output in terms of your main outflow of the money is going to the material. Because if you're running a furniture shop, you have to buy the materials to make a seat.
Yeah.
That's the main expense. And then you make the seats, but then this one is almost, we call them direct expense, because you buy furniture, you buy timber, and then you make a furniture. You can quantify that the timber I bought, it's in this furniture. And you can manage that. The only way to reduce that cost is to negotiate more with suppliers or to outsource other places to buy cheaper.
Yeah.
But there are other expenses that we call overhead expenses. Overhead expenses are expenses that you must incur whether you do business or not.
Exactly.
And these are very important areas to track. What is it, rent that you're paying? Is it salaries? And remember, there's a difference between salaries and wages. Because if you're paying wages for casual laborers who come to work just because you have work, that can be a direct expense. But overhead in terms of labor is anyone who works for you that you have to pay whether you worked or you did it. If you have a soldier at the gate, that's an overhead already. Because a soldier doesn't care whether you did business or not. You'll have to pay them. Yeah. If you have a secretary and they're paying them per month, you have to pay them at the end of the day. Then things like licenses, taxes, and all that. So overhead expenses are very important to track. Because if you don't track the overhead expenses, they can become your pain. And you're paying because you're paying so much rent. And I think last time we said, you need to ask yourself, do I really need to pay this rent? Is it justifiable? Can I reduce my space? Or can I even work from home? Nowadays, there are people working from home and they are doing well. Yeah. So the expenses that you incur are very important for you to track. And I say reducing the exit. Keep reducing the exit. As much as you can.
Narrow it down.
You narrow it down and expand the inlet. Inlet is do much sales as possible. In productivity, we say you increase the output. You increase the output without changing the input. So you increase the output here now is the sales. Yes. Is actually the sales. The sales and the money that you get. The input is the money you spend to get the money you get.
I get it. I get it. Yes.
So the input, if you can increase the output without changing the input, you're good. Or else you can maintain the output and reduce the input. Okay? So if you get it, Victoriana. Yes. So this is the point. It cost me 20,000 to get 50,000. Yes. Okay? So it cost me 20,000 to get 50,000. I have two options. To either maintain the 50,000 that I get and reduce the 20,000 that I spent to get the 50,000.
That you put in.
Yes.
I get it.
You get it.
Yes.
So that is one option. The other option is to maintain the 20,000 input that I put and increase the output. That's how you play around with cash flow. Because at the end of the day, you must increase your profitability, you must increase the money you get, and there is no option. So one last one is the only way to do this, and because we talked about challenges, the challenge many people have today is poor record keeping. No records, you can't track cash flow. Because the only way you can know how much you spend is to keep record of every transaction that you make. Every money that goes out. Sometimes people are so funny. They spend on themselves and they don't record it down. And last time we said, don't do that. If you run a retail shop, and your auntie comes around and you buy them soda, in your ledger book, you need to record that as personal withdrawal. There are only two options. If you help someone with money from the business, either pay it back from your pocket or record it as your personal withdrawal. Because that's money out. At the end of the day, when you track it, you'll see it's an expense. Because Enoch, and I think in the next portion, we can talk about how can you use these records to improve your business.
Thank you so much.
That's
Speaking
important.
of record keeping, and I hear you, because those are some of the loopholes now that people need to really address right now. For our viewers who are just joining us, this is Faith Today Television, and Pastor Kilonzo, he has helped us understand that when you're operating business, there are two things that you pay attention to. Whatever is getting into your business, the costs that you use to make the value that you give out there, you have to reduce them. And it's also giving us an idea that when we are to make impact, if we are making sales, we should make sure that we make much from the less. Basically, that is what is helping us understand today. I don't know what Victoriana has to say about this.
I think maybe what I can just pick from that, I remember you also talked about projection. So you mentioned that when you're tracking what is coming in and when you're tracking what is going out, you're able to also make projections for the business, yes.
Thank you so much. And projections are key. We are now getting the key areas that you need to handle for you to succeed in the business space. Now, I know questions are coming in, but before we go to the next session, I really wanted Pastor Kilonzo to help us. You know, I come from a medical background whereby we pay attention to diagnosis.
Yes.
Because before we provide a solution, we pay attention to the assessment and then give you a definitive diagnosis. Are there some key areas or signs that you can tell that this business is really struggling or this business is making it for someone to understand and then probably come for a solution?
Thank you. The first and foremost red flag is your inability to pay your bills. That's the first.
If you can't pay your bills, that's a sign.
If you're struggling to pay your bills, that's a sign. And the thing is, people ask, so where's my money? We did business over the course of the week, in the course of the month, but we can't pay our rent. We can't pay our employees. Where is the money? So if you realize you're struggling to pay your bills, then now go back. I always give these areas to track. Number one, study your cash, your account payable. The accounts payable are monies that you're supposed to pay out. And that's where people, you realize there's a problem because the accounts payable are not being paid. You have a debt to pay, you have a loan to pay, you have bills to pay, a rent to pay, employees to pay. Now, if you're struggling on that, let's go back to the accounts receivable. Did you sell on credit? You know, and we discussed this last time. We said many people sell on credit and they think they have the money. So if I sold to Victoriana on credit and she has not paid me, in fact, that is already a problem. So I'm supposed to track my accounts receivable. Do I have money I'm supposed to collect? Am I collecting? If I'm not collecting, what should I do? Very important. What should I do? Now, if you realize you have a problem with selling on credit, you need to change your policy. Always know who can borrow on credit or who can buy on credit. Just profile your customers. If someone has a challenge, then you need to manage that.
And I think you talked about it last time.
Yes.
I feel like members who really want that segment, it is well crafted from the last
one.
You talked about number one being bills. You can't pay the bills.
Yes.
You have number two?
Number two. So we've talked about bills.
Yes. Someone can't pay the bills. That's the sign.
Yeah. And before we got number two, the other thing was on inventory.
Inventory.
Many people, the other challenge people face in terms of cash flow is tying their money to inventory. You buy excesses. You just want to see your shop full, but that is capital. So that's another red flag. You know you have issues of cash flow when you have too much stock and less cash. So you need to know, do I need to reduce on the much I stock so that I can release cash? So number one is your inability to pay bills. Number two, stock without cash.
Stock without cash.
Stock without cash.
Two.
Okay. Now the other thing is your sales. If you are not making sales, you're definitely going to fall into cash flow challenges. So you may need to check your outlet, your output. Am I selling enough? What is the problem? Now, if you're not selling enough, you may have issues with customer service. So this is a whole cycle that you need to track. But finally, the other thing that people need to know...
Before you talk about the final one, I don't want to lose any of them.
Oh, okay, please.
We're going to take a short break, our viewers, and we appreciate your consistency. If you have any question about this discussion, please let it come through, because today he's going to be really answering you. Today is the day that you have been waiting for. Once again, this is Faith Today Television. Catch you in our last part coming in.
Okay, asante. Nilikisajili kitabu ambacho kinaitwa 7 Keys to Success, ama kuna kanuni funguo 7 if you like it, ambazo zitakuletea ushindi na kufaulu maishani. Wote, wewe na mimi, tunataka kufaulu, lakini pia kuna njia ya kufaulu. Ukisoma hiki kitabu ambacho nilikiandika kwa kufanya utafiti, kwa maombi mengi, kuangalia neno la Mungu, I have no doubt ya kwamba hiki kitabu kitabadilisha maisha yako. Nilikuwa naongea na mchungaji rafiki yangu akaniambia, nilisoma hicho kitabu, sasa ninafundisha watu wangu kupitia ujuzi, maarifa, hekima ambayo nilipata kwa hiki kitabu. Kwa hivyo unaweza pia nunulia watu wengine, na akaniambia alinunulia hata viongozi wake, na wamekuwa wakisoma, wakaweka kwa library yao wanasoma. Hiki kitabu sina mashaka, nina uhakika itabadilisha maisha yako na utabarikiwa. Tuma message ama upige simu kwa hiyo namba na naweza kuwasiliana na wewe, na utapata hiki kitabu, utatumiwa, usome na ubariki pia watu wengine. Asante. Mungu akubariki unaposoma 7 Keys to Success, and you will succeed. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Enoch. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV. Yes, hello there. Once again, welcome to the Kingdom Business Network, your go-to-choice business program today on Faith Today Television. And today joining with me is a one distinguished guest who is sharing so much insights into how we are breaking barriers regards cash flow. If you have just joined us, we are not far. You are at the right time. We're talking about cash flow. Yes, we are talking about the essentials that define proper cash flow management. And before we broke, we were talking about the signs and symptoms that show that, you know, this business is really struggling and I need to do something. So there are signs that you need to look out for. And I see your questions coming through, which I appreciate greatly. And can you imagine, the first question comes in, only that this person didn't indicate their name, but if you would indicate your name and where you are sending from, it will help me even serve you much better. Someone is saying, good conversations. How can I realize some early signs of cash flow problems? Imagine someone was already heated up. So I think they need to get more of these signs so that they can understand the status of their business. Another person, this is Jen. I am Jen. What can I do if I face situations where cash flow is tight? It's a good question. Please keep them coming. I love the flow. It means that you guys are following. Yes. And a third person says, Pastor, how do I get to implement opportunities to improve cash management in my business? This is Nelly from Kiambu. I think we can carry on with the signs because I think someone needs to have the entire count on the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so we had talked about the challenging of paying challenges
bills,
of paying bills.
you can't pay bills. Stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is you are making sales, but you can't see the money. That's another sign that you have a cash flow problem.
You are making sales, no money.
No money. And some businesses that are like that, you're very busy, but there's no money. It's especially in the cash box or in the bank. So you need to know that there's a problem, there's a leakage somewhere. And the way to track the leakage is to go to a records book. And had talked about the basic record book, or the record book that you develop, your ledger, which you track each of the transaction of the day. If you realize you're making so much sales, but there's a lot of problem of money, and I was mentoring one mentee who runs a hardware. They seemed so busy, you know, but he was telling me, I can't seem to pay my bills. But we are busy. You can see throughout the day, people are coming, all that. So that could be a challenge there. And actually it's a sign that you have a problem. Where could the leakages be? The leakage could be either you are losing money through theft. Theft is one of them. Maybe your employees are stealing from you, okay? Yeah. Or they are untracked expenses, because you could have expenses that you're not tracking. So that's a very important thing, and we'll talk about the remedy. Yeah. Then when you also feel like you're not in control. You know, there are people who are in business, but they don't feel like they're in control of the business. They feel like it's getting off their hands, and that's very important. Track your outstanding bills. I've talked about the bills, but please, it's important to break it down. When you talk about accounts payable, you need to do what you call aging. Aging is the age of a debt. The age of a debt. When you have a debt, how old is it? When was it supposed to be paid? How long has it gone overdue? Track. In fact, it's important to create just a basic Excel sheet where you can put all the bills and the date. Put the date that bill was incurred, then when it was supposed to be paid, then where are we today based on that bill? So that you can see debt that has gone beyond 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and beyond. Because when you are the solution to these issues, if you want to reduce the debt or the bills, you can do what you call snowballing. Now, snowballing is you look at the small debts that you can quickly kill, and you kill those debts, because those ones can become, the small bills actually give you more headache.
Killing meaning you pay them off.
Paying them off.
Oh,
yes. I'm using the street language. You kill them off. Yes, you pay them off. That's snowballing. The snowballing, then you keep on, because if you track all the bills and you want to free yourself of the pressure, you can keep on dealing with the small bills. Number two, I always tell people, renegotiate these bills. Because if the money coming in, all of it is going to paying debt, then you will still have cash flow issues. You need to manage the inflow and increase the inflow, manage and reduce the outflow. So renegotiate with the debtors. Renegotiate and see if they can give you more time to pay, so that the money coming in can grow the business. If you can reduce the output, the outlet, and increase the grow the business, grow the business, you'll be able to absorb more pressure. But when you have challenges with the cash in and you have challenges with cash out, then you're going to crash. So my advice is this: if you see a red flag, you're not able to pay the bills, do a quick debt analysis. When you do the quick debt analysis, negotiate, discuss with the debtors, and please ask them, can you give me more time? But anytime you renegotiate a debt, list it down and indicate the new payment date so that you can track. Now, Enoch, one of the things that business people find it hard to do is to balance the money in and money out. especially on a month-to-month basis. If you deal with checks, for instance, when do you release checks? I can promise to pay you on a date when I know I'm also expecting money in, and we talked about this last time, so that you don't, release payment without money in, but also give some freedom or give some space so that you can receive the money first and then release the money out. That's important. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about managing debt or managing money out and money in. Mm-hmm. The other thing is on the stock that we talked about.
Yeah. Some people have a lot of stock.
A lot of stock, and some is dead stock. Yeah. Dead stock. Dead, completely dead.
When you say dead, or D-E-B-T. Dead stock. Kufa. I get you. Uh-huh.
Dead stock is stock you cannot sell. There's stock you cannot sell. Let me give a quick example of people who run boutique. People who run boutique, they sell fashion. Mm. You know that?
Yeah.
And fashion runs out very fast. Yeah. So especially for ladies, what was fashion last year, today is not fashion. It's seasonal.
Okay.
So you bought a lot of stock for a particular fashion, and then poops, it ran out. Mm. That fashion is no longer fashionable to the ladies. So now you have to bring in another stock, which is the current fashion. So what happens to the old stock? It ties your capital. Mm-hmm. So what you need to do is, when you realize that you have stock you cannot sell, place it on offer.
Oh, you give a discount or something?
Yes. You've gone to shops where you see stock clearance.
Okay.
And stock clearance at half price. Let me tell you the truth. Instead of holding stock of 1 year old, you'd rather sell it at half price. Recover as much as you can, and then get moving.
I think I like the discussion, because when Pastor Geoffrey is talking, you hear he's coming from an informed point of view, and he's sharing real practical, practical examples, insights. For the pragmatists, I'm sure they're enjoying this.
Yes.
This is a great conversation, because when you talk about negotiation, there are some of the skills you don't learn in school. They do not teach this.
They don't.
This is something you learn on platforms like this.
Practical.
Yeah? And for those of you who are just joining in, this discussion is still ongoing. Let us know, what are your challenges? He has addressed the signs, but I want him to also pick up the people who, you realize, Pastor, so many people are now coming online, They are doing business online, they are working from home. Some of them now think they don't have to worry about rent and a few of those things. I want us to help us understand, help them understand the challenges they can anticipate, those who are working from home.
From home.
Yes, in terms of cash flow management.
Interesting. Those who are running their, and it's good that we talked about the boutique, because majority of ladies today, and not only ladies, even men, are doing what we call drop shipping. And drop shipping is, you don't run a shop particularly, but you have suppliers and you have a pool of customers. Okay, so you go to the supplier, you negotiate with them, and tell them, I want to supply, I want to be selling handbags. Ladies' handbags. So I'll come to you when I have a client. You'll give me this handbag at this price, but I'll post it on my WhatsApp for business at this price. So the only cost that you need to calculate now is transport cost. The challenge they mostly face is, sometimes they have a customer who is far, and they don't calculate that cost of transportation. And it can be very expensive. I will give you an example of someone who was distributing gas cylinders. And so every time we ordered for a gas cylinder, he could bring it with a motorbike. And I posted and asked him, so how much does your gas cost to buy and sell? So he gave me the buying price and the selling price. And I realized the difference between the buying price and the selling price was only 200 shillings. Only 200 shillings. Then I asked him, how much does it cost to bring it to the motorbike? To
transport it.
He told me 100. I said, so what sense does it make?
Can you imagine?
To take a whole half of your profit and give it to a transporter? So if you're not careful, the margins that you've created can easily be eaten up by the transport.
Yeah.
And don't forget this transport of you going to pick this parcel and you giving it to a motorcycle to deliver it. And that is happening with food, it's happening with bags, it's happening with clothes, anything. Majority of people are doing that. But please manage and monitor your cost. And you know, after that discussion with that gas distributor, he went and bought a trolley. So anytime someone asks for gas, puts it on a trolley, pushes it, brings it to the house. Any cost? Zero cost.
Zero cost.
So you've reduced your expenses to the 100 bob,
Yeah.
and this 200 becomes all yours. So it's important to track your expenses.
And I like it when Pastor Kilonzo becomes so practical on us, because I think that is what we need in this generation. Because some of the conundrums we find ourselves in, you find someone who's depressed, you see he's busy, he's motorbike delivering, you know, moving all over Kasarani here, and you think, this person is successful, but they're really not making money.
They are not making money.
You know? So for our viewers, this is Faith Today Television, and just needless to say, this is the Kingdom Business Network, the place for you to be, to grow your business and create wealth. I believe Victoriana also has something to talk about the online community. You know, can you share with us some of the tools, you know, some of the softwares that people can use to manage their cash flow online, because, you know, it is serious.
All right. Maybe before we go into the tools, I just like to pose a question to Pastor Geoffrey. We've talked about that example of the person that sold the gas cylinders and how transport was their main cost, yes. But then again, when you look at online businesses, most of them nowadays, there's usually the problem of fraud and scammers. The buyer does not want to trust the seller, and the seller also does not want to trust the buyer. So there's that point of contention. So how does this influence the discussion today?
Thank you, Victoriana, because if you look at the online business, the whole ecosystem has a lot of challenges, because one of the challenges is someone gives you a call and they place an order. And says, I'm in Kileshwa, please deliver to me. The question is, are they paying before or are they paying upon delivery? Okay? Now, if they're paying before, they will ask, can I trust you? Why should I pay before and I've not seen it? I mean, even personally, the first time I bought online, I lost money. The first time I bought a charger, a Samsung charger, I paid, I've never seen it up to today. I was scammed.
In hope.
You get. So until today, if you told me you're delivering, first come to my gate, let me see and confirm what I paid for is what has come. Then I'll pay. So how do you manage that? The delivery person is supposed to be your gatekeeper. The parcel will be delivered. You will have it, you will see it, but you can't get it before you pay. So right at the gate, here is your parcel. Is this what you ordered? Yes. Pay first. Have you paid? Show me the confirmation.
Exactly.
Then I can hand over the parcel. That is the only way to manage online business.
You get it?
Yes.
You get it?
Absolutely.
Pay first.
Pay when you see.
You see it?
Yes.
Pay it.
Yes.
Because from there, I've bought so many things online.
Absolutely.
So that is important. But then this person that is delivering for you, and please avoid motor riders or the riders that are not registered in companies. Any delivery, I sell books, my books online. Every time someone orders for my books, I book a Bolt or Uber rider. Because that person is registered in a software or a system. If they go away with my parcel, then I can report and we can track. But if you just go out here and call N rider, so if they disappear with your parcel, what do you do?
So that's a question I want to pose to you. What will you do? So this is so great. It is coming in from Pastor Geoffrey. Like we say, today is so practical, and I see questions here really coming in, because when you talk about debt, it's been a challenge. You know, people are really struggling with the debt. You know, you can't laugh about it, but we can provide solutions.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Thank you so much, Victoriana. You can
So
answer
you
the
asked,
tools.
You asked a question on the tools when it comes to the online platforms. So he has given us one of them about riders, engaging with riders who are registered with trusted companies. So that's one way of managing. I think one of the other things you talked about in the last segment was making use of Excel templates. There are so many Excel templates that we can use for cash flow tracking and all that, and projections. So I believe that that's something that our viewers can employ in keeping track of their cash flows in their businesses. And
Can I just mention, because Enoch, the discussion of digitizing businesses is such a huge discussion. You can actually create a conversation we have on that, because what you're down talking about is digitizing of businesses. What are the options of digitization? The moment you say, I'm going e-commerce, that's a whole conversation. E-commerce is a business ecosystem by itself. How do you register on the e-commerce platforms? What are some e-commerce platforms that we have? What are the policies and what are the pros and cons of using those platforms? If you're on Jumia, you're on Cheki, you're on, it's called what? There's so many of them, Gigi. So which platform works for which business? That's important.
Which platform?
Exactly. And then how do you list yourself there? How do you secure yourself there? And how do you beware of scammers? Because there's so many scammers on the online business. How do you also be careful? Because some people may buy from you just to get access to your data, and there's so much about that. So we can have actually a conversation around that.
We should actually.
But before then, there's something Victoriana has mentioned on cash flow projections. If you want to heal or to cure cash flow issues, do cash flow cash flow statements and cash flow projections. When you're doing cash flow projections, first you do cash flow retrospection or cash flow statements. Look back the last 3 months. Can you create a behavior of your business in terms of cash flows? How has your business behaved? How much sales have you received? How much cost have you incurred? Then you project the next 3 months and do a comparison. Because that comparison is what can help you come out of the situation you're in. So I think that is very important. When you're doing cash flow statements or cash flow projection, these are this is the formula. Let me just give it to them. You take you create a table, and the first column is the items that you want to list. The second one is the cost per month or per week. The first item you list is the cash in from sales, and then cash in from any other source. Then you do a total of cash in. Then you go to expenses. The first expense is the direct expense. If you're buying bread and selling bread, that is a direct expense. Then you do indirect expenses, which you call the overheads. Then you do total expense or total expenditure. Total cash in minus total cash out gives you cash balance. So you can do that per day and do cash in minus cash out balance at the end of the day. Do the same tomorrow. And when you're starting the following day, always carry forward the cash balance from last week or last day, and then it's opening balance. Then keep track of that and create a cash flow statement. That's very important.
And I like it because when you talk about now the calculations, a lot of people become a bit, they fear so much calculations. They are unsure, and that is why we want to get them to go back and rewatch this over and over again to understand the calculations. Because I believe it is also answering the question of this lady. She's saying, "Hello KBN, how do I keep track of my daily cash transactions of my business?" You talked about that.
And can I just expound on what she's asking? To keep track, please open a records book. Please do it.
Records are key here when you are in business.
And when you're recording, let me just give the the formula. I wish we were writing somewhere. Next time you bring me a whiteboard. We do the formulas.
I think in breakfast we will accommodate that.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, quick one for that one. When you open that book, there are ways money comes to the business.
Yeah.
Number one, it could be cash sales. Number two, it could be M-Pesa payment, whether it's a pay bill or a buy goods.
Yeah.
So create that. If it's a pay bill that is connected to your account, create cash in, money in through cash, money into the bank.
Yeah.
When you record a sale, was it a cash sale or was it a bank through the pay bill?
Yeah.
In the end, have the totals down here. If it's an expenditure, how did you pay it? Did you pay it through the bank or did you pay it through the cash? So down there, it should show you the cash balance in cash, the cash total in cash, and cash in bank.
Yeah.
Then please create a profit and loss. Always, if you want to know these, the records will not make sense to you if you don't know the profit. Do your profitability, gross profit and net profit.
Yeah.
That's very important. Once you do that, you can now do a balance sheet.
Okay. Talking
Balance
about
sheet
a
will be
balance
next
sheet,
one.
I like that. And I would recommend these people to one of your sessions because
Please
I
do.
have gone through them.
Please
I am a trainer of trainer right now.
Yeah.
Because of this gentleman. So what we are going to do right now, I don't know if I'm going to finish all these questions, but you can be sure that we're going to answer them at the breakfast, you know. I feel there's so much we cannot really. Okay, let me select Carol. Carol in Ruiru says, I have been facing unexpected expenses. Is there a solution for this?
What are the expenses? Tracking.
Track the expenses.
Track the expenses. Any coin that is going out of your business, record it.
People need to write down.
Track it. And listen to me, Carol. Tracking expenses means even your own personal expenses.
Yeah.
If you have not separated yourself from the business, then have your personal records and the business records. When you go home, you spend money from where? If it's business money, record it down. And I always say, people should know, am I paying myself a salary? If I'm not paying myself a salary, me and the business are one. So if I spend money for breakfast, it was business money. I should record it. If I spend money to pay school fees, to anything, write it down.
Records. In fact, what I'm trying to get from you, Pastor Geoffrey, today, if anything, record keeping. People are failing with records.
Yes.
As we close this, I know we can talk about this the entire day. I don't know, Victoriana, I feel you have parting shots right now. I know you are excited, but because of time, give your closing remarks.
My closing remarks?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Geoffrey, for those insights. I believe that from here we are really going to work more on our record keeping for our businesses. And I know that we are going to improve in our cash flow management. So again, as you think about your business, think about that pot and how you're trying to maximize on what is coming in and to narrow down what is going out. So to our viewers, welcome once again and keep it locked on Faith Today TV. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would love to hear from you, Pastor, your closing remarks.
Thank you.
Say a word about the Kingdom breakfast,
Okay.
KBN breakfast.
Okay. Last one is there are 3 things that we should always track in our business. I call the BES, business expenses and savings. If you want to secure your business tomorrow, because eventualities happen, things happen that you have no control over. And when they find you without cash reserves, they can hit your business hard. Always make sure you have cash reserves somewhere. Open a bank account, put some money. You don't save because you have money. You save because you don't know how tomorrow looks like. So make sure you create cash reserves, whether it's a SACCO account, whether it's a bank account, whatever you do. Keep some savings. Number 2, track your expenses. Make sure that you spend what is necessary. Prioritize your expenditure. Don't live beyond what your business can handle. Just live within your means. It is okay. And please include your tithe, your offering. Any money you give is an expense. So put it down there, even the money going to church. Then track your business, record your business records. That is very important. So BES, business expenditure and savings. Lastly, we want to have a one-on-one with the business people, and especially the Christian fraternity. We through the KBN, there is a business breakfast that has been organized. You can go to the website, to the Facebook account, to the website, but also online here, you'll be receiving communication of this breakfast. Come and ask those questions one-on-one. We'll have a panel discussion with experts who can give all these answers. Whether it's savings, whether it's expenses, whether it's a loan account that you want to a loan you want to access, you can get it right through the KBN breakfast. So I encourage you, let's be wise and be enlightened. My people perish for lack of knowledge, and because you rejected it, I also rejected you from being preached. That's the word of God. So seek knowledge and always want to grow in knowledge. You can never grow beyond what you know. You can only grow up to what you know. Knowledge is your ceiling. Break the limits. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The word is break the limits. Once again, this has been the Kingdom Business Network show on Faith Today Television. My name is Enock Kitondekijja. Catch you next time. Keep it Faith Today Television. God bless.